You ready for me to start? So just talk about me. Oh, my favorite topic, me. Well, what is there to know about Lorna? I'm beautiful. I consider myself to be a very sexy person, regardless of the fact that I have HIV. I mean, that had nothing to do with who I was. I was Lorna Hamilton Henry well, okay, so maybe I was Lorna Hamilton before HIV. And now I am Lorna Hamilton Henry, HIV or not.
Discrimination is disrespecting and judging somebody based on what difference you see in that person. And discrimination is wrong.
I have 2 kids, and you know, when you're in your alone space and you're in your alone time, you wonder, okay, how this whole HIV thing is going to affect them when they start to understand it. Sometimes I wonder if I'm selfish for bringing them here, you know, knowing that I have HIV and everybody going to discriminate anyway, whether or not they have it or not.
You know, everybody has to be worrying about what society thinks, right? But a lot of people, they watch others, they say, look at she, look at him, right? But are you really looking at yourself? A lot of people, they discriminate, but they're not looking at what they're doing. They're looking at what others doing. So, you know, those who out there should ask themselves that, why should something so simple determine how a person is treated?
You have a specific age or anything that you're planning to like really put them sit down and tell them like about it and explain to them what really it is?
Hopefully that will be when they reach about 9, 10, when it really starts to mean something to them.
Okay.
But we just hope that nobody can tell them before that time, or give them a version of what it means before that time.
Anybody could testify that once they were discriminated, you won't really feel good about it. Obviously not, because look, somebody just judging you for no reason. You don't know why. You don't know why they're doing it, and just so people just, you know, talking about you and stuff. So yeah, it'll hurt a lot.
When I was having my daughter, I spent a week at the hospital, and everybody, you know, you go to clinic and you join clinic and that kind of thing, and they are like, you know, they treat you differently. You don't get to see a doctor like everybody else, and you know, they treat you different. The doctors make a round every morning to check on their patients, see how they're going. Nobody came to check me. When was the time to deliver my baby, and you know, I was sick. I was turning blue and all that kind of thing, and the midwife was really scared, and they hook up the drips and all that kind of thing, and I thought I was going to die. And she called for the doctor to come, and he wouldn't come. As a matter of fact, I had my daughter at 2:15, and he came to do the sewing up, maybe Minister 9. He was doing the sewing up, and he was like, I don't know what this come here for. I don't know this tell us to get pregnant. I don't know. Even though they are dead in the area, and you weren't supposed to feel the stitching taking place, you actually felt the roughness, the tugging of how he was doing it.
You know, you always hear about AIDS and, okay, this person have AIDS, that person have AIDS. But like, I've never really spoken to someone who has AIDS to get their perspective on how living life with AIDS has been. And I find this whole project and on the whole, this whole thing with the discrimination and everything, is like open up your mind to that how easy it is to discriminate somebody. So if it is to discriminate somebody on a general basis, how it is to discriminate somebody who has HIV or AIDS. And also I think that the whole discussion kind of open your mindset to try. It's not only by living a certain way that you get AIDS by just trying to spite somebody, and like you have to know that as young people, you have to have our head strong. And if we're not thinking with our brains up here, you would make a lot of mistakes in life, and need to, even though life is about making mistakes and learning from them, there are certain mistakes that the amount of information we have now about the HIV and AIDS, we can avoid making that mistake of contracting the disease.
And I think part of the real reason that people discriminate is because they don't identify HIV with being real, with a real person behind it. A real person suffering with a real disease that might one day be the cause of the reason why they might die. I'm not afraid. Discrimination has brought out a side of me that I didn't know existed. A strong side, a side that fights for my children. A side that is going to show them somehow that in order to survive this, you have to fight. Fight the good fight, not just any fight. Yes, I feel hurt. I feel pain. And when people tell you things like, you're not supposed to have children, why? And now that I have them, I went into this whole motherhood thing already, HIV. And the things that normal parents take for granted, that they're going to be there for their whole children's life. I cannot do that. And yeah, my children are a little spoiled. Because at first, you keep thinking you'll die. And you tend to live life every day as it comes.
I'm not a promiscuous girl. And I don't want to be a rebellious girl against my mother. Because my mother gives me opportunities. And there's always a limit. She always puts the... So she may tell me about sex and stuff, but she will cut at a point, and maybe when I get bigger, she might tell me more about it. Maybe not, hopefully. I don't know. But I understand a little bit more, and I get a better view that it's not only people who just go around just having sex or doing whatever they want, just get AIDS and just get sexually transmitted diseases. And you have to know that you could trust whoever your partner is, and don't just go around doing whatever you want, because you never know who has it.
Every child deserves to be loved. Every child deserves the right to be educated. Every child deserves a home. Every child deserves the right to choose. Every child should be given the same opportunities at living life. But for my children, they didn't get a chance to choose where they want to go to school. Certain schools don't want to take them. So right away they have already interfered with their right to be educated. Certain people don't want to love them. So right away they interfere with their rights at being loved. Me living with HIV should not have affected the rights of my children, their normal human rights. But because they live with a mother that has HIV, their rights have been infringed over and over and over. And one of the reasons why I could stand in public and say, well, I have HIV, so what? So that people will know that this is real. It's a real thing. And my family is a real family.